evening. This upcoming newscast will talk about today's economy. Recently, the economy has suffered a great downfall, and it's because of these 4 factors. Due to the recent downfall in the economy, many struggle to provide for their families and loved ones. Studies conducted suggest that over 1 million people are homeless. So many people are homeless because of the shortage of job opportunities. Companies refuse to hire more workers because they cannot afford them. In order to maintain a business, a company must cut back on who they are hiring. Studies show that a total of 6,130,000 U.S. workers have been unemployed for more than 27 weeks in December of 2009. The longer a person is unemployed, the harder it is to pay the bills, which leads to an increase in poverty. An increase in spending has also resulted in an increase in poverty. Credit cards have become an easier and faster way of getting merchandise. However, this way of spending has led to a rapid spiral in credit card debt. When people purchase items with a credit card, they use their line of credit to buy something beyond their financial means. In exchange, these purchases are met with ridiculously high interest rates and most of the time procrastination. When people procrastinate, these fees rack up. It becomes harder and harder to pay back what they have already taken out. Because of this, the poverty rates in this country have increased as people have fallen deeper into debt and the inability to pay has increased. As a person's debt increases, sooner or later, he or she will be faced with a tough decision to give up his or her values in order to pay the price. As a result of the tough circumstances that people face day to day, there is no doubt that the homeless suffer the worst. It can be concluded that the shortage of jobs and the increase in bills are the 2 main reasons why people are left out on the streets. Although guns were thought to be a huge success, they were feared by many. As time progressed, everyday people had the opportunity to get their hands on one of these deadly weapons. However, it was a horrible mistake. Guns have transformed into terrifying machines in the hands of murderers and mentally ill members of society. Due to the recent tragedies, new gun control measures are to be put into place soon enough.
Many believe more crimes will happen from allowing teachers and students to be so close to these weapons. Legalizing the gun control deal is also a threat to the Second Amendment, but for many this law is very positive. Protection will be guaranteed for all schools, and the government says safety for students and teachers will increase. Sandy Hook has affected the whole world, but has made an incredible impact on New York. Incidents like this are never wanted to be thought of occurring ever again, and that is why I believe many families are for this law. Families are still in shock and want the most protection as possible. The gun control deal will make it nearly impossible for anyone to own a gun anymore, but it will be allowed to be used on school grounds by security. This deal has had a huge impact on the gun industry economy. For people that are associated with this industry are not at all for this deal. So right now there is a high percentage of unemployed. People are tempted to steal more, and others are buying guns to protect themselves in their own homes. Just from this year, the economic impact of the firearm industries are up 66% and has been doing immensely well. But if this bill is passed, the gun industry will be affected negatively, allowing barely anyone to buy a gun anymore.
Do you believe the gun control deal should be passed?
I don't believe it's necessary. I understand that there is a horrible school shooting, but I feel that the issue has been taken to extreme precautions. I also don't like the idea of weapons in schools.
How do you feel about the gun control deal?
I'm for it because it'll make the schools safer, of course, and less innocent people will die.
With the increasing globalization comes the temptation to outsource jobs. This lack of jobs in the States has led to more unemployment for the formerly employed in our country.
The unemployment rate in the United States is currently rising. When the recession hit in 2008, unemployment rates soared in every industry. As usual during recessions, mismatches between employer needs and worker skills also increased temporarily, reflecting the labor market as workers were forced to move across industries and occupations. The administrations of President George W. Bush and Barack Obama have struggled to reverse the loss of jobs. Since Obama took office in 2009, various government programs and bailouts have been instituted to stimulate the economy, including cash for clunkers and a tax credit for homebuyers. In February 2009, Congress passed the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, a stimulus package infusing $787 billion into the economy. Employment still continued to rise after this. The average unemployment rate at this time was 5.8%. It shot up to 9.3% since 2010. The unemployment rate has hovered around 9.7%, dropping to 9.5% in June and July. Obama and others have dealt with this, preventing a depression. Republicans characterize it as wasteful, insufficient, and ineffective government spending at a time when the national debt continues to soar. Democrats have continued to introduce unemployment benefit extensions with limited success. Republicans argue that these taxes are also catching many small businesses, which create jobs. In November 2012, the unemployment rate fell to 7.7%. Since Hurricane Sandy, this has increased, and more people have been left unemployed. Jobs have been created for construction and sanitation workers and those in that area of employment. This was lower than expected. The labor force has shrunk, the labor participation rate and the dropout rate has increased, causing the unemployment rate to drop.
When the stock market bubble erupted, turbulence rippled through the larger economy, causing investment and corporate spending to sink and unemployment rate to rise. Burned by the stock market, many people shifted to home purchases as a more secure way to build wealth. The financial industry in New York has slashed jobs by the thousand over the last 2 years. The stock market allows business owners to build up a business and then share it with the world, thereby reducing their share of the business in exchange for cash. Since the financial crisis, Wall Street firms have wrestled with two competing market forces. The report showed that total compensation on Wall Street last year rose 4% to more than $60 billion. Some stockholders try to sell a share of a company that is worthless so that everyone wants to buy it. Soon the stockholder can benefit while the shareholders are in ruins. However, these market businesses can be manipulated. This is technically a legal way to steal millions of dollars from people. In conclusion, these 4 factors have contributed to the downfall of today's economy, but without them, there would be no reason for improvement for our nation. Thus, we will continue to build a better economic structure and a better America.